when we watch a video like that, you know, it's obviously well made. You know, you could say professionally made. You could say glitzy if you wanted to. But we kind of have a response to a video like that. Some of us, part of us responds emotionally. We feel, you know, you saw that picture of the green water or the children, you're like, I want to do something about it. That's wrong. I feel strongly about that. But then that's as far as it goes. It is an emotional response that ends in an emotional response, and nothing is done. Another part of you would be like an active response. Like you actually do sponsor a child. You actually do write a check or give some money to something. Even maybe as you watch that, you're thinking about your budget and thinking about what your giving habits and thinking, you know, I could probably set aside $5, $10, $30, $35. As soon as this is done, I'm going to start writing that check or go to the bank machine and put it in the envelope for next week. Some of you are thinking, I'm going to do something about that. So some people have a cynical response to this type of video. I remember years ago I saw a movie in the theater called About Schmidt. And the very beginning of the movie, it starts off with kind of like a sponsored child television ad. And a Schmidt is watching it on TV. And at the end of the video, I can't remember exactly, but I think the television narrator says, what are you going to do when you see this hunger? And one guy in the theater yelled out, I turn the channel. It's like, well, that's it. Like he's cynical and he's like confidently cynical. And there's a number of reasons why people are cynical or they don't give to charities. Some people would say, we already have enough hungry people here. Let's just take care of our own. I'm sorry about them. They'll have to take care of their own. Now, I don't need to combat that cynical reaction because I think that's ridiculous. Like there's 1.2 billion people on the planet living on $1 a day or less. Even the poorest in our community, we have food banks and you can get a meal a day, or it's not as bad. So another response, a cynical response, and this one's far more common than that one, is this. You know, only 50 or 60% of my donation actually ends up helping everybody. Most of it is eaten up in administration costs and advertising costs. And so I'm not going to give to such and such charity because only a part of my money is going there. So in that kind of response, on the surface, maybe it's logical, but beneath it, it's kind of like, you know, this isn't really about them. This is really about me, and I want to get bang for my dollar. And I've looked up a lot of charities on the Charity Navigator, and World Relief Canada and World Vision and Compassion International, the three that I like. They're like so high on the charity meter that it's hard to be cynical about them in that regard. And you can look at some that are very bad. Like there's a charity called Noah's Lost Ark, where they take care of exotic animals that have been mistreated in their homes. And 61% of their budget ends up in advertising and administration costs. There's another one called Shiloh International Ministries. They bring in about $1.5 million a year, and $1.2 million goes into administration and advertising costs. 84%. So a charity like World Relief or World Vision or Compassion, theirs is less than 20% goes into ads and administration. And so compared to like Noah's Lost Ark and Shiloh International, like those are the ones we can be cynical about and snicker. Exotic animals. But it makes no sense not to have administration costs, not to have advertising, or we would never even hear of the needs around the world. So I'm not going to swallow that cynical response. Another response is, I can't afford to give. You know, someone should give to me. I need a charity. You know, I'm broke, I'm going in debt, look at my Visa card. Do I need to say anything about that? In the story we're going to look at today, Jesus says, you just give them something. Even if it's just $5, $10, every charity that you learn about or hear about, you can afford to do a tiny thing So it's not true that you can't afford to give. You maybe can't afford to give 20% of your income to it, but you can all give something. The last one that I'm not going to respond to, but I'm going to let Jesus respond to is this. There are so many hurting people in the world. The need is so great. How can I possibly make a difference? 1.2 billion people and $1 a day. Here's some more stats for you. Here's all the countries that are currently have some kind of conflict or civil war, which always leads to poverty, malnutrition, safety issues for women and for children, education issues. Yemen, Sudan, Somalia, Kenya, Ethiopia, Democratic Republic of Congo, Chad, Afghanistan, Sri Lanka, just a few of probably more, where there's internal conflict resulting in poverty, hunger issues, malnutrition issues, nutrition issues, water issues. And then there's countries dealing with disaster issues like the Philippines, the flooding there. El Salvador has faced some flooding. Just two of probably many more. You may not have thought of this one, but some countries, probably many, are dealing with an economic crisis. You know how like the last 3 or 4 years gas has gone up, costs for certain vegetables and fruits and things have gone up, and we just kind of bite the bullet and pay for it. People in a country like Guatemala can't do that because they have such a small income anyway. When the fruit and whatever, the vegetables doubles in price, they can only buy half as much as what they used to eat. So a lot of countries are facing economic crises. And then there's the countries that are like a step above the really bad ones. But even though they're a step above, maybe they're getting $3 a day, they're trying to get ahead and like start a business, get their children to school. Instead of working at home, they're trying to like expand their businesses, expand their jobs. Countries like Honduras, Liberia, Bangladesh, Ghana, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, Cambodia, China, Haiti, India, Indonesia, Kosovo, Malawi, Mozambique, Nicaragua, Zambia, and many others. In these countries, they're still dealing with issues of awareness issues like AIDS awareness and health awareness issues, child development, still education issues and what's the nutritional food my child needs to grow, agricultural issues, and as well as, just like I mentioned, getting that little bit of extra, a bit of money to just move ahead in my business. They mentioned it, they call it microfinance, and as part of what this mission does. So I list off all of those kind of 1.2 billion countries and tragedy, disasters, internal conflicts, war, safety issues for children and women, just subsistence living, education issues, children, unhealthy nutrition, education, on and on and on. We begin to feel, or you could feel if you don't get distracted from it, heavy. Like, what possibly could my $20 do in the face of that immense need and that immense problem? I don't think any of us here would have a problem agreeing with this statement. The world we live in is a world of haves and have-nots. Which category are we in? The haves. Everyone in our country, if you get more than one meal a day, you're in the haves. If you have access to transportation, you're in the haves. If you have access to a roof over your head and a warm blanket and clothes, you're in the haves. We're all in the haves, and all the countries and the people I listed off, they're in the have-nots. So we're in the haves, they're in the have-nots. We know deep down, we try and avoid it. We do turn the channel, get caught up in other things, far more interesting things. But when I sit here and talk about it, we're again, I know, Pastor, it's immense. I know, but what can I do? I'm just one little person. I don't lack the generosity gene. I just lack the confidence that my little can make any difference in the face of this seemingly insurmountable need. At this point, I'm not going to address that question. I'm going to let Jesus do it himself.